The chair recognizes Minority Leader Singh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I love this institution. The first time I came and saw the House chamber, I was an intern for the late Charlie Harrison Jr. And I remember sitting up in the gallery and watching everything happen here on the floor and just was amazed by everything that was going on. And that time was obviously before term limits. The people who were here I still view as giants, people that I look up to, many of which helped shape the leader that I am today. And I look back fondly and remember a number of those members who helped me throughout my professional career, including people like Tom Matthew, Jeff Padden, the late Curtis Hertel. A number of them had an impact, but the person who probably has touched me the most and taught me the most was the representative of my district, who was there for 22 years, Lynn Jondal. Lynn is the type of person who took every day with passion, every day with a smile, every day with a quick wit. If a Republican disagreed with him or a Democrat disagreed with him, you would still leave that conversation liking Lynn Jondal and wanting to continue to be his friend. He never wavered on his beliefs, and he knew the tax code better than anybody. And so when I ran for this position, I thought to myself, who better to emulate than Lynn Jondal? And I don't know over my 6 years if I lived up to that standard, but I hope that the things that I have done here would be things that he would be proud of and that would emulate the type of leader that I always found him to be. When we give these going away speeches, we talk about them falling under comments and recommendations. That's what our floor leader says as we give our speeches and goodbyes. And so I wanted to talk about three recommendations. And those are recommendations that we're often given when we are first joining here. And the first is always focus on an area. We only have a limited period of time. And I decided when I came in here that I was going to focus on the budget and appropriations. And it was the best decision I ever made. I got to meet so many friends on both sides of the aisle that not only helped me get things done, but at times were adversaries, and at times they were people who worked with me to get good legislation done and bad legislation stopped. And so I just want to thank everybody who served in that appropriation process with me during those 4 years. I appreciate your service in helping me learn more about this state and the challenges as well as opportunities that we have. The second area is that we need to focus on being bipartisan and coming together. And I will tell you the memories that I have, the things that we did the best, are times when we actually came together with one another. I take a look at things like Medicaid expansion. I take a look at the Detroit bankruptcy, the grand bargain. Those were hard things to do, but we did them together. And I remember on that day when we passed, I don't remember if it was the last bill or the first bill, but after we did the grand bargain where we all broke out into applause. We broke decorum here on the House floor because it was something that was hard that we all did together. Obviously, some of the biggest challenges that I've had in my 6 years were times when we decided not to be bipartisan, when we did not reach across the aisle, when we could not find compromise. And so I always recommend that we find those opportunities for us to all come together. And then lastly, relationships are key in this town. And I hope that all my relationships, you found me to be a person that focused on finding the right answers with you, and that my word was my bond. And I think when we looked at two issues, one of those being energy, that was one of our great opportunities of bipartisanship because we had that conversation. I was told when I first started the conversation on that there was no way Democrats could get energy efficiency as well as renewable energy expanded. And I said, no, I think we can, and let's continue to work on it. And it was in those last possible days of a lame duck session where we took a very complicated conversation that we had over 2 years. And in those last minutes, as we were going in and out of Governor Snyder's office, having conversations back and forth, that a deal was cut. And I want to thank Robert Hewlin, as well as Chris Affadoulis, who worked with the governor on the one side of the equation, my partner for 2 years, Eric Nesbitt, who worked with me tirelessly through that energy debate and got us to an actual solution. That when we walked away on that last day of lame duck, we were all proud of something that we did together. And that was based on relationships and things that we did with one another. So those are my recommendations. And as everybody, there are some thank yous to be had. And I'm just going to start off at the top with my wife, Carrie. It's been an incredible partnership. She has lived through this whole process, and our relationship has lived through this whole process. As I started running as we were dating, as we got engaged during the primary and got married a couple weeks after the November election. It's been an incredible partnership. I don't know how I would have done this without you. And I will say the proudest day that I have had on this House floor was the day that you and our son Remy came and were on the House floor. And so I love you and thank you for everything. I want to also thank my parents. My father was an immigrant from India, as well as my mother. Their opportunity to come to this country to make a change, as well as to live the American dream, was something that I admire. It was something that me and my brother were taught about how to give back to your community because of what was given to them. And I thank them both for the example that they led. It's one of the reasons why I ran for public office. And then, as we always do, we have to thank our staff. As we look at our staff, Carrie and I both view this staff as our family. We all call ourselves Team Singh or whatever your last name is. But this is not only a team, they're not only employees, but they are part of my family. And I look at the first group, which was the 6 people that got us through that very tough competitive election in 2012. Rami Galvan, Paul Mooney, Molly Korn, Jordan Bresnahan, and Steve Wooden. They had all just graduated from college or just were in their senior year. They were led by a young staffer from the Senate that we stole from soon-to-be governor-elect Gretchen Whitmer, Jack Schmidt, and they ran an incredible campaign that got me here. And then as I came to this institution, Jordan Bresnahan and Molly Korn opened up my office, and then as my colleagues elected me to be the floor leader, I was proud to add 3 individuals to my staff over that period of time, Ryan Seabolt, Sarah Shilio, and Chris Young. And I just want to give a specific shout out to Chris Young and Ryan Seabolt for running this floor during my 2 years. I think we did a lot. At the same time, we were able to make the points that we needed to make during that period of time. And then though she wasn't part of my staff, she was part of Eric's staff and now Dan's staff. I want to thank Joelle. It was always a great conduit from the Republican side and a very valuable person to this institution. And then I want to thank those that have been with me on the leader staff in these last 2 years. Lisa Metcalf, who has run my calendar and kept me sane all of these 2 years. I want to thank Aaron Zettel, Nathan Triplett, Patty Tremblay, Katie Carey and Samantha Hart, Coffee Ann Hawthorne, Liz Krantz, Mike Grabmeyer, and Jeremy Harelchuk, Aaron Keel, Katie Doyle, Ron Owens, and the variety of interns that have come through our office, including Rachel. On our off-site world, I want to thank Mike McCullum, Courtney Goddard-Berryman, Hillary Kipp, Jason Ellenberg, Ben Miller, and Chris Caswell for the work that they have done, and I'm proud that I leave this chamber with a few more Democrats than when I started. And then lastly, to the members that are here, I want to thank all of you. To my Republicans who worked with me, I won't name your names. You've been added to gangs of 12 and gangs of 14. Those of you who worked with me during those times, I thank you. I want to thank David Rutledge, who helped with me in my transition when I became floor leader. I want to thank Leader Greimel for his leadership during the first 4 years, as well as helping me during this transition. I want to thank my leadership team, Sherry Gay Dagnago, for your passion, Fred Durhall for your support, friendship, and your help on appropriations. To the young people of my leadership team, and these 3 are all people I knew before they became in the legislature, right out of college, Stephanie Chang, Jeremy Moss, and John Hoadley. I just appreciate what leaders you have become, and congratulations to the 3 of you. To 3 new leaders, Darren Camilleri, Abdullah Hamoud, and Vanessa Guerra, I've only gotten to know you since you've been elected, and I'm so proud of what you've done and what you will continue to do. I want to thank my messengers. Anytime I said, I need you to speak on behalf of our values, Donna Lazinski, Brian Elder, and Robbie were the ones who could actually do that, and I thank you, Yusuf. And then I look at the last few, Adam Zemke, Christy Pagan, as well as David LeGrand. I thank all of you, but I also know you added to my gray hairs during these 2 years. I want to thank the Dagwoods Caucus, who allowed me to sometimes join them. They're from the UP, Macomb, and Muskegon. I want to thank Bob Kozowski, who's in his own caucus, in his own world, for our friendship. I want to thank my partner over in the Senate, Jim Ananick, for our friendship, our long conversations, and I look forward to what you will do in this upcoming term. And then, for our next set of leaders, I will talk about you, but first, I want to talk about my friend Tom Leonard. I know that oftentimes people think it's funny that Tom and I are friends. We obviously came in during the last 6 years, and we've often been on the opposite sides of issues. Oftentimes in the beginning, I was yelling from one of these microphones, and he was up on the rostrum. But during that whole period of time, we were friends. We were people who would appreciate the battle, but we'd always know that we had the respect for one another. And I just want to say that I know on behalf of Carrie and I, we wish Janelle, you, and Hannah the best as we go forward. And I look forward to the time when both you and I can stop answering the question, what are you going to do next? To Lee Chatfield, I wish you the best as you go forward. You have a great opportunity to talk about the bipartisanship and the things that we've done, and I look forward to your leadership as Speaker. And then I want to end with our next leader for the Democrats, Chris Gregg. I want to thank you for being a partner over these last 2 years. I've appreciated our friendship, and I look forward to what you're going to be doing for the next 2 years. And so I'll just end, because I don't like to write notes. I just wanted to have some names so I could remember the people I wanted to thank. Obviously, I wasn't able to thank all of you, but each one of you have made an impact, whether you were part of our sergeant pool, whether you're part of our clerk pool. I want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of Michigan. The work that you do is important. The work that we've done over these 6 years is important, and there's so much more to do. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in whatever I do next. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.